You know what I'm sick of? Content. Just this never-ending pumping out of video after video where someone in their 20s with no particular expertise in anything talks into a camera and expects us to give a shit. I'm really envious of people who are confident to share their opinions, especially opinions about right and wrong. Like, you know, when someone goes on Twitter and they call Liz Truss a bellend, like, I agree with them, no complaints from me there, but I can never tweet stuff like that because I'm worried about being called a hypocrite. I'm worried someone in the comments will be like, that's rich coming from you, Eric. What have you ever done to increase the value of sterling relative to the dollar? And I'll be like, yeah, it's a good point. When have you ever implemented a fair taxation policy? You've got me again. Or if you take a moral stance on one thing, you could get called out for something else you do that's bad, even if it's completely different. Like, I'm not a vegetarian, and I probably should be. There are good arguments for not eating meat. One, it's dead mean on the animals. It's proper tight on them. It's just kind of unfair. Two, it's bad for the environment. The production of meat causes global warming. Like cows, they fart greenhouse gases. Their farts kind of go into the atmosphere and they sort of form this, they trap the heat in, basically. Like, you know the phrase Dutch oven, where you do a fart under the duvet and then you trap your partner or whatever. You get the duvet, you put it over your partner, so they have to just kind of inhale this hot, stinky air. That's essentially what cows are doing to the environment. Don't know what the other animals do. I think pigs, they drive a lot of jeeps. Same with chickens. Sheep, a lot of them are fly tippers. A lot of their old mattresses end up in rivers and stuff, which doesn't actually cause global warming, but it's just ruins the scenery a bit, doesn't it? It's not nice to look at. So essentially, we need to stop breeding them, basically. Also, I guess the action of actually eating meat is bad for the environment, because when you eat meat, you feel like a bit of a king, and you're at your house eating your steak dinner, and you're like, you know what, I'm top of the motherfucking food chain. Stick the heating on. I don't give a fuck. Let's burn some fossil fuels up in this bitch. Whereas vegetarians and vegans are happy to sit in the cold as nature intended, warmed by their own sense of smugness. So my point is, if I start coming out with all this righteous anger about politicians and stuff, people could be like, well, you're not such a good guy, Eric. You're dead horrible to chickens. You're a hypocrite, Eric. You wouldn't eat a chicken if you had to kill it yourself, would you? I never get that argument, because I wouldn't use a smartphone if I had to assemble that myself either. Why am I suddenly a farmer? Am I getting some sort of training to kill this chicken? I don't want to be involved in the manufacturing process of anything. My point is, every time you express an opinion about how people should act, then anytime you do something different to that in the future, you're at risk of being called a hypocrite. Like Marcus Rashford, I love him, but he's got to keep that up now. Like, he can never nick a kid's lunch money now. Whereas I can, because it's not inconsistent with my character. People will be like, did Eric just steal that kid's money? Yeah, he did, but he never claimed to be someone else. Good point. Let him carry on. I think what's blocking me from expressing my opinions is that I'm thinking, if I say this, I need to be pretty sure I'm going to think this for the rest of my life. Not only think it for the rest of my life, but act in accordance with it. But also, sometimes people change their mind on stuff as well. They're not necessarily being hypocritical. Like, if Marcus Rashford started stealing kids' lunch money now, he might not be a hypocrite. He might just have come to the decision that kids deserve to go hungry. He's changed his opinion. So what? Opinions are like hairstyles, aren't they? You have a certain one for a bit, but sometimes you fancy a change. Oh, you had a haircut, mate. Bit hypocritical. I guess if you still claim to hold a certain opinion and then act in the opposite way at the same time, then you are being hypocritical. Is that terrible though? I reckon porn is killing intimacy, and it's probably exploitative. I'm still watching it. I'm watching it right now. Behind that camera, there's a screen, and I wouldn't want to go into what's happening on it. Maybe you just have to be like, yeah, I still think that thing, but the reason I'm not acting in that way is because I'm not as good as the person I want to be. The best way to avoid hypocrisy is to not hold anyone to any standard whatsoever, and to not think anything. But another strategy, I think a better strategy, is just to embrace being a hypocrite. Have opinions, take stances, and sometimes completely contradict them. Be a hypocrite. Take a plane to a climate change rally. tweet about how much you hate social media. Steal a kid's lunch money. Because the alternative is never doing anything or consistently being a goody two-shoes, which is too hard. And as they say, if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. Like the deeply flawed message of this video. See you next time.